1st of June for Scotland, Ukraine. Rob Dorsett's been across this. What more can you tell me?
Big old game, and we were waiting for this announcement. 1st of June, Scotland will play Ukraine in the World Cup qualifying playoff semi-final. Originally, it was supposed to happen on the 24th of March, of course, but Ukraine weren't able to fulfil that fixture with all that was going on in their country following the invasion by Russia. And instead on that day, Scotland played Poland in a UNICEF match that we ought to point out raised £500,000 for the humanitarian effort in Ukraine. But you have to say, it's pretty extraordinary, the circumstances of the rescheduling of this match. When you consider all that Ukraine is dealing with right now, its very sovereignty and security of its own nation being tested to the extreme, people dying in the country on a daily basis. Emotionally, it must be very difficult for these footballers, but practically as well, it's fraught with difficulty because, remember, Ukraine passed a law, a martial law, that said all men aged between 18 and 60 could not leave the country. They had to stay and be part of the military effort. It was only earlier today that we heard from the first Vice President of Ukraine, Oleg Protozov, where he confirmed that special permission had been given to Ukraine's footballers that they could leave and play these matches. And they're actually trying to organise a training camp as well and friendly matches to prepare the players for this game. They want to play France and North Macedonia in the build-up to it. So huge hope, I think, that this game can go ahead. But behind the scenes, I'm being told there is still some concern that with all the difficulties that everybody's dealing with in Ukraine, it might not happen. We don't know what's going to happen between now and June the 1st. An awful lot could happen in Ukraine's history in that time. So there are still doubts about whether this could go ahead. And you've got to remember that all domestic football in Ukraine has been suspended. I was looking at the squad, and 9 members of the Ukraine squad play for Dynamo Kiev, for example. They haven't played since the middle of December. So what sort of state are they going to be in to play this match? An extraordinary situation and a difficult one for Scotland as well.
Yeah, just very briefly on Scotland. I've got other people to talk to, Rob, and it's kind of secondary to what's the Ukraine situation. But what does this mean for Scotland? Well,
it's very difficult for the SFA and for Scotland's fans. They've got to deal with ticketing and travel and that sort of thing. And they've got a lot of games they've got to play. We thought that this game might be a double header. It could be one game that counted for 2 results, because remember, Scotland have got to play Ukraine in the Nations League. That was due to happen in June as well. That won't happen, we've been told by UEFA, so they've got to reschedule that game. An awful lot that they've still got to do now to prepare for that. They're supposed to be playing Armenia and the Republic of Ireland later in that month. They were due to play Armenia on June the 4th. Well, that can't happen. That's the day before the potential final, if Scotland win this, when they'd play Wales in the final, the one-off game to decide if they go to the World Cup or not. So a lot of rescheduling of matches to come out from this announcement. But the big announcement, Scotland will play Ukraine. It has been scheduled for June the 1st at Hampden Park.
Rob, thank you. And you will see it live on Sky, June the 1st, Sky Sports Football for Scotland, Ukraine.